Economies of scale. If you have a flow, the same flow as until now, proceeding through two tubes in parallel, and of course it has to be driven by a pressure drop called delta P2. How does that pressure drop compare with delta P1, where the same m dot, all of it, flows through a wider duct. In this case, all these ducts are round tubes. The diameter here is D1. The diameter in each of these is D2. The formula for the single duct is, I erased it, but it's obviously this one, delta P1 equals, you substitute the F for the round tube, which is 16, over the Reynolds number based on the diameter of the tube. When you make that substitution, you get that delta P1 is 128 nu L over pi, and then m dot over d, in this case d1, to power 4. This is already a discovery worth keeping in mind, and it says that the pressure drop through a round tube depends very, very strongly on the tube diameter. If you fiddle with the tube diameter in the wrong direction, meaning to make it smaller, you make this pressure drop blow up. That's what the exponent 4 really means. So you got to be very careful both ways. Meaning enlarging the tube is a good idea when you want to reduce pressure drop. I'm already giving away the punchline. What is the delta P2? Delta P2, I'll write it over here. Well, delta P2 is the same formula, 128 nu L over pi, but instead of m dot, I write only half of m dot because only half of m dot flows through the one of these. And downstairs, I write d2 to power 4. How much smaller is d2 relative to d1? That we answer by recognizing that the total flow volume is fixed, meaning that this volume could be expressed two ways. So the split way is twice, and then the volume of a round tube is what is it? It's pi over 4 d2 squared L. So that's for the couple shown on top. Must be the same as a single tube. And then pi over 4 d1 squared L. And from this, let's call it constraint, we find that that D2 is 1 over square root of 2, also known as 0.704 D1. So the diameter of one of these tubes in parallel is comparable with, but smaller than, the diameter of the single tube. And then the comparison between delta P2 and delta P1. If you divide these two expressions, this one by this one, you find that is, if you've done everything right and you check your previous steps twice, 2. So the pressure drop from 2 tubes in parallel to single tube drops to half. And that's a huge deal. There are people all over science and technology discovering improvements of 0.01, even smaller percent. In this case, this is called a monumental, which is much bigger. Monumental is probably not the right word, mountain size change in the desirable direction of design. So that's economies of scale. The penalty is what you pay for the power that you waste. And the power that you waste is the pumping power. Once used, it's gone. Refrigerators use power from the outlet. Gone forever. All this air conditioning is dissipated power for your comfort. So living well and safe and easy should make you think of those who invented these things, you see. When it comes to air conditioning, that's Willis Carrier. You've heard of the Carrier Corporation? Carrier. You see this label on some air conditioning equipment. He was a Cornell graduate, turn of the previous century. His invention, the air conditioner, brought to life the whole world. Before him, territories stretching from the equatorial to the tropical and subtropical were living in stupor, not working, because it was too hot and too wet. And all of a sudden, the world is working because air conditioning was a revolution. The second one after the steam power locomotives, which was the revolution of the 1800s. And so count your blessings. Today, especially on a weather like this, you don't have to suffer.